Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my Sephora VIB sale recommendations. I can't believe I'm already making this video again. It feels like I just made this video for the Sephora customer appreciation sale, and let me say, I feel like this is the earliest the Sephora VIB sale has ever happened. It just feels really early this year. I feel like normally it's at least in November, and for VIB we get to shop October 26th, the day this video is going live. So it feels like the sale is really early this year, which is a little bit disappointing to me. I felt like I had a little bit more time to set aside money for the sale, and now I'm like, I really need to narrow my list down. So if you guys are feeling the same way and are wondering what some of my top recommendations are in each makeup category, then just keep watching. So even though I said in the introduction that this is going to be my top recommendations from each category, I still feel like I have so much to talk to you guys about today. So I made myself a cup of coffee, and I might recommend you do the same because I feel like this video is going to be super long. I'm actually going to jump into hair care and skincare first. I'll also have everything that is mentioned in today's video linked in the description bar down below, so if you're interested in any of the products that I mentioned, everything will be listed down below. I have 3 hair care products to recommend. The first is the Bumble and Bumble Hairdresser's Invisible Oil. This is a priming oil. Looks like this. I bought this during the April Sephora VIB sale, and I really like this, you guys. I tried a sample of this before I actually purchased the full size, but this is a great priming oil. It smells really nice, and it really does a nice job of protecting the hair from any heat products that you might be using. My hair always feels really silky and smooth after I use this, so this is definitely one that I would recommend, and I will repurchase when I finish this one. During the last Sephora VIB sale, the August one, I picked up the Olaplaex Hair Perfector number 3, and I really like this too, you guys. This has done an amazing job of really rebuilding my hair. My hair is super damaged, and I've definitely noticed a difference after probably like the 3rd or 4th time that I use this. That's really when I started to notice a big difference. I know that they have a shampoo and conditioner too that I'm really interested in. My Sephora VIB wish list will be going up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But the shampoo and conditioner definitely have me interested too, but the number 3 like hair mask is really good, and I would highly recommend. And then finally, I wanted to recommend the Living Proof Full Dry Volume Blast. This is like a volumizing spray. I wouldn't necessarily call it a hairspray, although I feel like it can work similar to a hairspray. It says instant lasting volume and texture. I use this when I curl my hair, and I just noticed that it gives me really good volume, and it definitely does help the longevity of my curls throughout the day, even though I have pretty thick hair, so my curls usually last a good amount of time anyway. I'm obsessed with this, and I think this is really good. So if you're looking for a good volumizing spray, this one is really expensive, but also really good. Alright guys, I put earrings on to hopefully distract from the monstrosity that is my hair today. It's like I just did not feel like doing anything with my hair today. But moving on to skincare, I'm going to be that basic bee YouTuber that recommends the Shiseido facial cottons. These really are a game changer, you guys. And these are, I mean, they're expensive for facial cottons, but they are only $10, so buying them during the sale, I mean, you're really only saving $2, but you are still saving money. These are seriously the only facial cottons I will use. I've tried different facial cottons after using these, and I just always come back to these. So these are so good. Once you try them, you will really understand what the hype is about. I have 3 cleansers to recommend to you guys. The first one, I definitely need to pick another one up during the sale. This is the Youth to the People Kale and Green Tea Spinach cleanser. This is incredible, you guys. I use this every single morning. It's such a gentle cleanser, but works really well to remove makeup or any sort of like leftover skincare you have on your face in the morning. So I really like this. I am definitely going to be purchasing another one of these, and I don't think you can go wrong with this one. Then I also want to recommend my tried and true evening time cleanser, which is the Kors Greek Yogurt Foaming Cleanser. This has been my favorite cleanser since last year's VIB sale when I originally tried this. This is so good. I feel like the white is like getting mixed in with like the rest of the white behind me. Anyway, this is one of my favorite cleansers of all times. I don't feel like it strips the skin, especially for being a foaming cleanser. I know sometimes that can be an issue or a concern, but I really like this. I like to use this with my Clarisonic. I love the way that it foams up, and this is just such a good cleanser. And then I recently tried the Origins Checks and Balances Frothy Face Wash, and I use this like interchangeably with the Kors one. I never thought I would like completely replace my Kors, which I'm not completely replacing it, but I never thought that there would ever be another cleanser that I even like sometimes used instead of the Kors one. But the reason I like this one so much is because it suds up and froths so much, and I'm not kidding, when you wash this off your face, it literally, like, you get to a point where like you're rinsing your face off and your face is like squeaking. Like, it literally makes your skin squeaky clean. So I really like this. I don't notice that I have an issue with this, being that I have dry skin, so that isn't really a concern for me if that's one for you, and I just really enjoy this one lately too. I also want to recommend the Tarte Tingling and Knockout Treatment. I feel like I've recommended this in my last 2 VIB recommendations. This is such a good like exfoliating toner. This has made such a difference in my skincare routine and just the overall texture of my skin. This is my 4th or 5th bottle of this. I feel like I go through one of these every like 2 to 2.5 months, and I believe they're like $34 or $39. I'm about halfway done with this one. I'm considering just buying a backup in or during the VIB sale so I can get it at a discount, but this is one that I will forever have in my skincare routine unless I find something better, but I haven't thus far. Then I have another exfoliating treatment. This is the Kate Somerville Exfoliate Intensive Exfoliating Treatment. This is a really intense exfoliant. I use this only 1 time per week, but I love this and I think it is such a good product. And I know it's so expensive, but this is a good time to buy if you have been considering buying anything from Kate Somerville or any expensive skincare, since you are getting that 20% discount. So I do plan to pick up another one of these during the sale because I'm almost out of mine. It's so good. It makes your skin feel so clean and so smooth. I just absolutely love it. I have quite a few other like treatments or masks to recommend. The first one is the Uller Henriksen Pore Balance Facial Sauna Scrub, and I know right now they have like a kit on there where you get the facial sauna scrub in a full size as well as the cold plunge mask in a full size, and I think that is such a good deal. I really like both of these, and I do have that kit saved in my basket. I do intend to buy it because I like both of these so much. If I had to choose one, I would go with the sauna scrub. I don't know, I like this exfoliating treatment a little bit better than the cold plunge, but both are really nice and both I would definitely recommend. I have 2 Peter Thomas Roth masks to recommend. The first is the Hungarian Thermal Water Mineral Rich Atomic Heat Mask. This is a really cool mask. I've done a review of this on my channel, so I'll leave that linked below in case you're interested in watching, but I really like this for cleaning out the pores and really cleaning out the pores and just cleaning my face. And then I also really like the Pumpkin Enzyme Mask. This is another like pretty intense exfoliating mask, but I love this. I love the scent of this, and I think it is a really good mask, so now's a great time to buy these. You can also get the Peter Thomas Roth Maskaholic set for $75, and you get to try 5 of his masks, which I think is also a really great deal. So if you're considering trying multiple of his masks, I would highly recommend that set. I also wanted to recommend the TLC Sakari Baby Facial by Drunk Elephant. This is one of the only products that I would recommend so far from Drunk Elephant. A lot of the other ones I personally just think are a little bit overhyped, or they haven't worked for me. I know a lot of people like swear by them and like that's great, but for me, I just haven't found many products that warrant the price tag. This is just a little sample size that I got in my Allure Beauty box. However, I do intend to purchase a full size of this because I do like this so much. This is another really intense one that I only use once a week, but I have noticed a huge difference in the texture of my skin when using this, so really like this one too. 2 oils I want to recommend. The first is the Fresh Sea Berry Moisturizing Face Oil. This is such a moisturizing face oil. This is like a necessity for me, especially going into the winter time. This is a really good deal, I feel like, for the amount of product that you're getting. You get 1.6 fluid ounces of oil, so it's a really large bottle for an oil, and I love this. This I think I purchased during the April Sephora VIB sale, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm only about halfway through. I have been using a different oil the last like month or 2, but this was like the only oil I was using for a while, and it's so good, you guys. If you have really dry skin, this will be a lifesaver. And then I also want to recommend the Kors Wild Rose Vitamin C oil. This is, I think this is vitamin C activating brightening oil. So I fell in love with this last Sephora VIB sale, like last November Sephora VIB sale 2017, and this has been a tried and true in my collection ever since. I would definitely recommend. This is just a little mini size I got in one of the Kors kits. They usually do a kit where they come with the cleanser and oil and then their day moisturizer and their night moisturizer. I think it's usually $65. I would highly recommend that set. I think it's a phenomenal value, and it literally made me fall It literally made me fall in love with all the Korres products last year, so would highly recommend that set. And if you're just looking for a new brightening oil, would also highly recommend this Wild Rose. I also wanted to recommend the Ole Henriksen Truth Serum. I need to buy another one. I don't currently have one in my collection. That's another really good vitamin C oil. That one works really, really well for me. I love how moisturizing it is for the skin and also brightening, so wanted to recommend that one as well. I have 3 moisturizers to recommend to you guys, and I actually don't have any of them in my collection right now. I need to purchase all 3 of them during the sale. The first is the Belief Truth Moisturizing Balm. I know usually last year I got it in a set where it came with a couple other deluxe samples of a couple other items. I know I'm going to be picking that set up again this year. The Clinique Moisture Surge moisturizer is also a favorite of mine since high school. I love that moisturizer, especially in the morning time. And then also the Dr. Jart Ceramiding Cream I'm going to be getting. That's a great one for dry skin, and I've noticed my skin getting even drier now that we enter the really cold months here in Minnesota. I'll definitely be picking that one up during the sale, and I would highly recommend it if you have dry skin. Alright guys, moving on to makeup, we're going to start with primer. I actually only have one of the 3 primers that I'm going to recommend in person with me today, and that is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. I actually just have the mini here. This is such a moisturizing primer, which you'll find as you listen to my other 2 recommendations that moisturizing primers are just my preference. I don't typically go for a pore filling primer or like a mattifying primer at all. I just really like moisture. Sometimes I go for a luminizing primer. I do also enjoy luminizing primers, but my tried and true is moisturizing. So this is a really nice moisturizing primer. This is more expensive, so a good time to buy. Another expensive primer that I want to recommend is the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. This is probably my favorite primer of all time, with the exception of maybe the next one I'm going to recommend, which is the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Primer. I love that primer, you guys. If you haven't tried it, it's so good. It's so moisturizing. It's a little bit cooling on the skin when you first put it on, which is amazing, and then it also gives a bit of a luminous glow, so that is such a good primer. And all 3 primers that I just mentioned are like such favorites of mine. Moving on to foundation, I have 4 to recommend. The first is the Too Faced Born This Way Concealer. I fell in love with this probably just a couple months after it released, which I feel like it's been about 2 years now. So this is such a good foundation. I love the finish it gives to the skin. It gives nice medium to full coverage. So I think this is a really, really good foundation. I also want to recommend the Dior Face and Body Foundation. This is a nice, more like light to medium coverage, and it just feels super, super light on the skin. I like to use this days that I want to use like a tinted moisturizer. Even though it isn't a tinted moisturizer, it kind of leans more on that side to me, and it's a really nice lightweight liquidy formula, which is something that I really like in foundations. So this is another really good one. Another Dior foundation that I love, this is my favorite foundation of all time. It is the Dior Forever foundation. I fell in love with this. I believe I bought this last November VIB sale as well, and I've loved it ever since. So you cannot go wrong with this one, you guys. This literally like blends itself into your skin. It gives such a beautiful, beautiful natural finish to the skin, and I'm like obsessed with this one. Finally, this is a newer one to my collection. I just purchased this during the Sephora Customer Appreciation Sale. It is the YSL Touche Éclat Radiance Awakening Foundation. I really enjoy this foundation. It gives a nice luminous yet natural look to the skin, and the color match on this one is really good for me too. This is in the shade Cool Almond. I was surprised that I like this, just because sometimes when a product is so hyped, I tend to just end up not liking it. So it's taken me a really long time to try any of the YSL Touche Éclat products, but you guys, this foundation, if you like a radiant finish, so good. I just have 2 concealers to recommend. The first has been a love of mine for a long time now, and is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. I love this concealer. I like that it gives a nice medium to full coverage, but it's also so lightweight. It doesn't really look like you're wearing concealer. So this has been a tried and true for me for a really long time. And then I recently picked up the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer. And this one I also really like. It gives a nice medium to full coverage, and it also feels super light on the skin. So another really good concealer that I would highly recommend checking out. I have 2 powders to recommend, and both are actually from Hourglass. The first is the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. This is their loose translucent powder. This is so beautiful on the skin. It does a really nice job of like blurring and just making you look like radiant but matte at the same time, and it's just such a beautiful powder. It's like basically a makeup perfecting powder, and it just takes your look to the next level. Typically I don't love to set my whole face with powder, but when I'm using this, I definitely don't mind it. And then I also have the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Luminous Light. When I'm looking for a little extra radiance or luminosity, I will use this to set my entire face, and I really, really like using it for that. You can also use this as more of like a subtle highlight and things like that, so it definitely is a dual purpose powder, and I think this is so good. I just have one eyebrow product quickly to recommend. This is the only thing I use in my brows. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Powder Duo. It looks like this. I basically just use powder to fill in my brows every single day. I can't be bothered to use a pencil or brow pomade or anything like that. I'm just like not good at doing my brows, so I just use a brow powder to fill it in. I've never had any issues with this. I really, really like it. I have mine in the shade Ebony, and if you just like a simple, easy way to do your brows, I would highly recommend this. I have 3 bronzers to recommend. The first is the Hoola Benefit Bronzer. I just have mine in a mini. I'm not going to pop it open because this is currently going in a project pan of mine, but I actually really like this for contouring. But I also feel like this is a pretty universal bronzer, and kind of like, not like a dummy proof bronzer, but like a beginner friendly bronzer that isn't going to just splatter a bunch of pigment on your face. This blends out really, really nicely, and it looks really good on a lot of skin tones, so I really enjoy the Hoola Benefit Bronzer. And then I also really like the Becca Sunlit Bronzers. These have like a little hint of a sheen to it, so it gives like a nice glow to the skin if you're looking for like a bronzed up, glowed look. I typically like to pull this out more in like the spring, summertime, even like a little bit into the fall time, not so much the winter, but yeah, I'm considering putting this in my project pan for 2019 because I know I enjoy it that much, and I want to see if I can actually utilize the whole thing in a year. And then finally, it wouldn't be a Sephora VIB recommendation sale if I didn't recommend the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer. This is a fantastic bronzer in my opinion, and so many other people's opinions. Again, this is another one that is sort of like dummy proof and just flatters so many different skin tones. I feel like you just can't go heavy handed with this. Even if you go in with multiple layers, it doesn't end up looking ridiculous. So this is another one that, like, even though it's $49, I think it is worth every single dollar. I have 2 blushes to recommend. The first is an Hourglass, what do they call this? Ambient Lighting Blush. This is a mini that I have. This is in the shade Mood Exposure. I absolutely am obsessed with this shade. I don't know if you'll even be able to see it swatched, but it's just like a really nice neutral leaning toward the mauve toned blush. So excited to pull this out for the winter time. I love the formula on this. This is so smooth and buttery and soft that it just blends so easily. It looks so beautiful on the skin, and I really don't think you can go wrong with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting blushes. And then another blush formula that I've loved for a really long time is the Becca Mineral Blushes. This is in the shade Wild Honey, which is just a really nice sort of neutral peachy tone, which I also really like. I like neutral tone blushes because I tend to get super heavy handed with all of my makeup and struggle to blend things out. So I like things to be like neutral or more natural looking to sort of help combat that issue. I also really like the shade Flower Child as well as Songbird. Songbird is another one that looks very similar to this, and then Flower Child is just like a really beautiful pink toned blush. Moving on to highlight, the first highlight I have to recommend is the Natasha Denona Glow All Over Glow Powder. Now this isn't the one that she just released. This is the first one, and I have mine in the shade 1. I do want to get the Super Glow. That's definitely on my wish list, but the All Over Face and Body just gives you a really sort of like wet, lit from within look to the skin, and I really like this. This has definitely already received a lot of love from me. This is another one that I kind of want to see if I can pan. I'm really interested to see if I can do it. There's so much product in here, but I really love this highlight. Also, I heard rumors that the Anastasia Beverly Hills Ambreezy highlight is coming back, and you gotta get this, you guys. Like, if you missed out on this the first time, you have to pick this up. This is such a beautiful highlight. It's a beautiful sort of like yellow gold highlight. This is like one of my favorite highlights of all time. You can literally never see my swatches, but I was so excited to see that this was coming back because I really love this highlight and I love to talk about it, but I know that you couldn't get it for a while. So again, if you missed out, now's the time to pick this up. Then I also love all of the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlights. My favorite would be the Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal one. It's a super champagne-y neutral one. And what I love about these is there's one side that's more subtle that I usually like to use when I go to work, and then there's one side that's like a little bit more intense. You can mix the two, you can do whatever you want, but I love these highlights. And then finally, you guys are going to hear a lot of Hourglass, or have already heard about Hourglass a lot throughout this video, but their ambient strobe lighting powders are incredible. They almost have like a little bit of like a glittery sheen to them, but these, again, it doesn't look like powder sitting on top of your skin. It literally looks like a wet, lit from within sort of look. It's just such a beautiful highlight. I have 2 of these, plus their like strobe lighting palette from last year. Oh, they're seriously some of my favorites. I have 4 eyeshadow palettes to recommend. One of them is just like a collection in general. It's the Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. As you can tell, I'm literally obsessed with these. I have all of her original ones, and then I have 2 of her limited edition gemstone ones. You guys, these are so awesome. Each of them comes with 9 different shades. It comes with a mirror. They're $27. They're so easy to travel with. This is her Electric Obsessions one. I love her Mauve Obsessions one. This is it right here. There's also like warm browns, the Smoky Obsessions. These are just so good. These are like my favorite palettes right now. I also feel like you just can't go wrong with the ABH Soft Glam palette. This is my personal favorite out of all of them. I'm not interested in purchasing the sultry one that just came out. It just seems too smoky for me. Like there's too much silver and black in there, where I typically like neutral browns, which is why I'm recommending the Soft Glam palette. I also really love the Mulberry shade in here, and I really like some of the shimmers up here, so really enjoyed this formula. Love the palette. Love Anastasia Beverly Hills. If you don't own this, you might want to. I also picked up the Urban Decay Born to Run palette during the last Sephora Customer Appreciation Sale, and this is a beautiful palette, you guys. You get 21 different shades in here. I really do like a lot of these shades. I think most of the shimmers are really good, and I like the neutral matte tones that you get. Such an easy palette to bring with you to travel with, and while it is like bigger, it's still pretty like compact and easy to travel with. So if you travel a lot, I do think this would be a good one to travel with. It kind of fits the theme of Born to Run, so would definitely recommend this one too. And then if you're really feeling like splurging, I want to recommend the Natasha Denona Lila palette. Now, some of the more recent releases by Natasha Denona I haven't been as impressed with, but I really do love this palette. The shimmers in here are incredible, you guys. You don't have to use the spray with them, and they give you such like a high intensity metallic shine that it is just unbelievable. And then the mattes in here also perform really well. I'm interested in picking up her Star palette that she released I don't know how many years ago, but that's $169. This one is $129. So again, if you're feeling like splurging, it would be a good time to get some money off on this. It's a really beautiful palette, and I love it. I can't remember if I called it the Lila palette, but I think it's the Lila, but I just always want to call it the Lila. Alright, and finally, you guys, I have a few lip products to share with you guys. The first one is the Nars Power Matte Lip Pigments. These are kind of like a liquid lipstick. These are pretty drying on the lips, so if you don't like that, you probably can skip these. But if you're looking for, or if you like a good liquid lipstick formula, I love the Nars Power Matte Lip Pigments. I have 4 of them. The ones I have in my hand are London Calling and Get It On. I just really like these, you guys. I wish I had all the shades. I think they're so good. I believe they're $26 and would highly recommend. Then I'm also a really big fan of the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea lipsticks. These are super moisturizing on the lips. My favorite shade is in the shade Rum Punch, which is just a nice sort of like peachy brown toned neutral shade. Love these lipstick formulas. Again, this is one that I wish I owned every single shade in, because I just think the formula is so good. And then 3 glosses that I really like. The Fenty Gloss Bomb. Seriously, you guys, this is a top-notch lip gloss. I really do want to get her new one. The Marc Jacobs Enamored, I think is what they are, Enamored lip glosses. This is the tried and true OG Basic B Sugar, which is my favorite. It's the one I have on my lips today. And then I also really do enjoy the Bare Minerals lip glosses. My favorite one is Sugar. I also own Groovy, which is like a neutral nude shade, which I really like. These are super pigmented, but I also really like the formula on them. So those are 3 glosses that I would recommend. And after that, that is going to be all the recommendations I have for the Sephora VIB sale. You guys will have to let me know in the comment box below what you're planning to pick up during the sale, and if you have any recommendations for me. Other than that, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so before you go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!